over time, doing plays, working with amazing people, I've loved acting.
Recording in progress.
And I was wondering if you could share a personal story about your experience at performing arts, specifically something you treasure about your experience at the school or something no one else knows about you.
I was very young. I was 15 when I got into the high school of performing arts. And in the movie, of course, they showed that there's a hole between the boys and the girls' bathroom. So that was a real thing. And some of the guys used to jump up there. And I one time, and I went up there one time. And the time that I went up there and looked through, Helen Slater said, "Corey, I know that's you. Get down from there." So, but we were up to a lot of different things in that school. We were it was not disciplinarian, it wasn't authoritarian. We were given the space to be independent minded. And I think a lot of wonderful things grow out of that. I have two sons. One is 35, one it just turned 28. But that independent mindedness, really tried to let them have that because it's much more inventive and it builds more esteem, I think, than just being authoritarian and controlling. So there was nothing like that school. I've never seen a school like it. I've never seen a situation or circumstance like performing arts was on 46 School. There were a lot of stairs in different places. We had the drama department and the dance department. We used to fraternize. We'd date each other and go out. I don't think the music department did that quite as much. The music department was known to have much more of a strict sensibility. And so I know that there was some of the musicians, the young musicians. I did know some of them, and some of them were wild as well. But each department was a little bit different. But we had, we would have go into the auditorium, and suddenly the dancers would be presenting, a performance for us. Or sometimes we would sit in the auditorium and the young musicians were practicing working on a piece as a young orchestra, and they were performing for us, and sometimes we would do scenes for everybody. So it was unlike anything else. It was just absolutely wonderful.
So you mentioned that there are only the those majors, but nowadays LaGuardia has art, vocal, instrumental, dance, technical theater, and drama. Is there a division other than drama that you would have considered auditioning for when you were a teen?
Even when music and art was uptown, way uptown before the schools merged, I still had friends who were artists or, doing other things, and we would all still hang out together. And so there was still a lot of fraternizing, no matter the distance between us. So when the schools came together, my younger sisters had already been in the school at 46th Street, but she hadn't graduated. So she started attending the new school next to Martin Luther King Junior High School. And I made a number of visits up there. Um, but I don't think that there's anything else other than acting for me that you could go to the public, you could go to so many different theaters and watch, when Steppenwolf was first coming into town and from Chicago and putting up their productions. I mean, there was just nothing to beat it. It was like to be an actor was magical. It was truly magical. So, but I know that some people want to be stage managers and people want to be different things, and we need stage managers. We need all of these things. So, but for me, there was only acting.
Oh, nice. Did you have any idea that you might want to eventually teach acting when you were in high school or when you were auditioning or when you were doing commercials?
No, I didn't have any plan to do it. And I did have friends over the years, as you do with each other. You come to your friend and say, "Can you help me with this audition?" So I was helping people with auditions, helping them with their roles when they were doing productions on stage. Um, but it wasn't until 2000 I was in New York, and my teacher invited me to start teaching at her studio, and she invited me to class. It was a nighttime class, and I came and to watch. And then she came in and informed everyone that she had to go to Paris to work with one of her clients so that I would be teaching the class. So I had no idea I was going to be teaching that class, but she did give me a TA. He was really another teacher who was quite wonderful, who helped me start to do it. But as soon as I started teaching, I loved it. As soon as I started teaching, because I went out to Los Angeles having studied acting, I didn't know anything about really, I knew as a child what it meant to be on set, but I didn't know anything about, the political aspect of the industry. I didn't understand any of that. And I had to learn that the hard way. So when I started teaching at a studio, I found that I was very protective over all of the actors and that I wanted to tell them everything that I'd learned that no one had told me so that they would never have to go through some of the things that I had gone through. And so you have the acting technique, but at the same time, you have just the reality of dealing with the industry. And obviously, today's industry is in a place it's never been before. But even though that's true, it's very important, that actors stay inspired. And so I do constantly suggest that actors watch old movies or, watch things or go to dance shows, performances, anything. Go to museums and look at old oil paintings, old portraits, anything that inspires you. You've got to stay inspired so that when all of this other stuff is coming at you, and when the industry is telling you you are valueless or you have no meaning to them, you stay inspired, you stay connected. You've got to have other people that you're connected to. And you want to ideally stay in class so that you've got a little family that you keep working with. That way, when you get an audition, you're ready. You're totally like, okay, here we go. If you haven't been in class for a while, and then an audition comes and it's just rusty, rusty, rusty. It's very hard to get anything going too well.
Well, speaking of, you were talking about inspiring. I was wondering, what inspires you the most, as far as movies or performances or actors?
Class is one of the places where I get inspired. When I watch actors work in class, and I know that might sound sort of trite, but it for me it's really I like people's creativity. I like creativity, and I've read hundreds of actors' autobiographies, directors' autobiographies, because all of them reveal some degree of creative problem solving, how their creativity helped them solve the problems that come up in life and in career. Because some people don't do that. They don't solve it and they give up.
Mhm.
So in class, people do things in class where you really can see their talent. You really can see how they worked on something or the spontaneity that suddenly pops out of them. And it's like, that is very inspiring to me. That makes me smile. That makes me very excited to see that. And sometimes people don't have that. And when they don't have it, usually it's because there's fear on some level. And, the way that I approach fear is, first question is, what are you afraid of? And then once I hear the answer to that, then I say, well, let's go through it together. Let's work through this together.
That's great. Thank you. That's, man, that's great.